So the Browns have a game on Sunday against they don't play the Cardinals very often. Cardinals at one time were one of the, back in the 60s and 70s, one of the main teams they played all the time. A lot of people don't realize that it wasn't Pittsburgh that was the rival of the Browns. It was the New York Giants back in the day. Some great games between those two franchises. But let's take a look at the offense for the Cardinals. They got a new coach, familiar to Baker-Mayfield. Ranking 22nd in the league, 20.9 points per game, 324 yards per game, that's 24th. Same thing with passing yardage. They're 15th in rush yardage per game, and then 12 turnovers, tied for the third fewest. That's kind of interesting. They aren't very good in a lot of places, but they don't turn the ball over. Now we look at the other side, the defense, see what's going on there. The defensive numbers ranking 30th in points per game, 28.8. Yards per game, 414. That's last in the league. So is the pass yardage that they give up, almost 300 yards a game. Rushing yardage, 120, and turnovers, 14, which is tied for 26. So, D-Man, you look at those numbers. What do you think you want to attack?
Well, I mean, pretty much anything you want. I think that the more glaring number is 6. Is the losing streak that the Cardinals are on. They were at one point 3-3-1. They're now 3-9-1. They could have beaten Pittsburgh though.
Yeah,
and that's why with Dave Bacon on our other show, I think the Cardinals will win this game and effectively end the Browns' ultra slim playoff hopes.
Why do you think they'll win?
Because I think the Browns' defense is going to have a difficult time with Kyler Murray. The Steelers' defense was able to do some things against Murray because it has such an ability to rush the passer and it has so much speed. The Browns are lacking the ability to rush the passer, and they are lacking the overall defensive speed, and I think Murray can create plays as a result.
Well, here's Murray, 293 completions, 457 attempts, 3,060 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. And he's also carried the ball a total of 77 times. Help me out on this. We got our hands full fixing the Browns' problems. Tell me why Larry Fitzgerald, who arguably is the second best receiver, would you say he's the second best receiver in history behind Jerry Rice?
I mean,
maybe
third,
yeah. Something like that. Why didn't they pack it? It seems to me that they're just not. The Cardinals aren't that good, and they could have packaged him somewhere along the line to get either players or draft picks.
Right, but you wonder, what did Fitzgerald say? You know, out of deference to him, did they say, you know what, Larry, do you want to stay? You want to ride it out here? He
probably said, I'll ride it out.
So who knows what the negotiations were there or the talks were like there, but Arizona, it's an interesting team. It was certainly interesting at 3-3-1.
Right.
First year under Kingsbury and Murray, and you're thinking, okay, there's going to be maybe a continued arc in the positive direction.
Correct.
And instead 6 straight losses.
By the way, you mentioned the other show with Dave Bacon. That's the Weekend Winners on More Sports and Les-Levine, seen on Fridays, and that's brought to us by Presque Isle Park in Erie, Pennsylvania, just an hour from downtown Cleveland. 216-575-0403. Let's take a look at the running backs for the Arizona Cardinals, see what they've accomplished. You've got two of them, Kenyan-Drake and David Johnson. And Drake 5 games, Johnson 11. Here you see the carries, only 3 touchdowns between the two on the ground. That's not a lot.
No, and Drake, of course, they got from the Dolphins. I expect more out of what the Cardinals have available offensively. I expect
I think Kingsbury is still learning the game, the pro game.
Oh, sure. I mean, you can't decide anything with Kingsbury or Murray yet
in 1 year. All right, so let's look at the wide receivers. I mentioned Larry Fitzgerald. There you go, Fitzgerald and Christian-Kirk, and 90 targets for Fitzgerald, 87 for Kirk. It's pretty even, obviously. Yards, Fitzgerald just under 700, just over 600 for Kirk, 3 touchdowns apiece. So they're not putting up a lot of points.
We know Fitzgerald is a legend, as you said, but those two guys should not have more touchdowns than Odell Beckham Jr.
No, I would agree with that. Chandler-Jones, this season, 40 tackles, 32 of them solo tackles, 7 for losses,
Yeah,
14 sacks. How about that?
The former Patriot. That's another one of many who got his money, and Belichick's like, okay, go ahead.
There's the door.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not paying you.